In the years before World War II, countries all over the world were busy at work, building new technologies for warfare. After seeing the damage aircraft could do in World War I, everyone knew they needed new ways to defend against attacks from the sky. This is where the story of the FLAC, short for Fliegerabwehrkanone, or aircraft defense cannon, begins. At the time, Germany was under great pressure to rebuild its military strength. Leading the charge in developing new weapons was the company Friedrich Krupp AG. They were known for making powerful cannons, and they played a big role in inventing what would become the famed 88mm flak. Engineers at Krupp aimed to make a gun that could hit targets high in the sky and far away. The engineers started work on this project in the early 1930s. They wanted to build a gun that was both powerful and accurate. By 1933, they came up with a design that could fire shells at aircraft flying thousands of feet above ground. The early model was called the FLAC 18, which later evolved into the FLAC 36 and FLAC 37. Each version had improvements like better sights for aiming and easier-to-move stands. These guns used a smart system to aim at moving aircraft. First, a team of soldiers would spot the target. Then, they used special tools to track how fast and in what direction the plane was going. This information let them aim the gun where the plane would be by the time the shell arrived. The goal was to explode the shell close enough to damage the plane. However, developing such a powerful weapon was no small feat. There were problems with how heavy the guns were. Each gun needed a team of highly skilled operators and had to be towed by a truck, which made them hard to move quickly. Moreover, making precise calculations for fast-moving aircraft required well-trained crews and lots of practice. Despite these challenges, the 88mm flak proved to be highly effective. During World War II, it wasn't just used against planes, but also became a feared tank killer. This flexibility helped Germany throughout the war. Understanding the story of the 88mm flak gives us insight into how rapidly technology can develop during times of conflict. Even today, the lessons learned from its design and use continue to influence military strategies and weapons development. As we look back, these powerful cannons remind us of the importance of innovation and adaptation in tough times. In the years leading up to World War II, countries were in a rush to build better weapons. Germany, wanting a strong army, focused on having the latest technology. The German military needed an anti-aircraft gun that was powerful and versatile. This led to the creation of the 8.8-centimeter FLAC 18, which later evolved into the FLAC 36 and FLAC 37. These were not just big guns, they were engineering marvels of their time. Rheinmetall, a major German arms company, was at the heart of this project. Engineers there designed a massive weapon that could fire shells at targets far away. The gun's main task was to shoot down enemy airplanes, but it was so powerful it could also be used against tanks and other targets on the ground. That flexibility made it very useful in different kinds of battles. The story begins with the FLAC 18, which first came to the scene in the mid-1930s. It was mounted on a special carriage to make it easier to move around. As the war progressed, improvements were made, resulting in the FLAC 36 and FLAC 37 models. These variations had better gun sights and were easier to handle. So, how did it work? The 8.8-centimeter guns were very precise. They used a complex system of gears and dials to aim accurately. Operators could adjust the angle and direction to hit fast-moving airplanes. The gun could fire shells at high speeds, reaching altitudes of over 8,000 meters. With a crew of about 10 people, each person played a vital role, from spotting the targets to loading the gun. Despite its powerful design, the 8.8-centimeter gun had its share of problems. Moving such a huge piece of equipment was not easy. It required trucks to tow the gun, which could slow down operations. Also, the gun needed a lot of manpower and coordination, which could be hard in the chaos of war. Supply lines were often stretched, making it tough to get all the shells needed for continuous firing. By the end of World War II, the 8.8-centimeter flak had made a significant impact. It was credited with shooting down thousands of aircraft and destroying many tanks. It showed the world the importance of versatile and powerful artillery. Today, these guns remind us of the incredible engineering that went into making weapons of war. They also highlight how technology can change the course of history. Understanding these innovations helps us appreciate the complex blend of science and strategy that defined one of the most crucial periods of the 20th century. Even if we're just learning about it now, knowing this history can give us insights into how technology continues to shape our world. During the 1930s, Europe was preparing for what would turn into World War II. Germany was rearming, and part of that effort included creating weapons like the 8.8-centimeter flak 18, 36, and 37. Originally designed to shoot down aircraft, this big gun soon showed it could do much more on the battlefield. Adolf Hitler's military leaders were the main players behind this weapon's development. They wanted a reliable anti-aircraft gun to protect their forces from enemy planes. Engineers in Germany got to work and came up with a solution. By the time Germany invaded Poland in 1939, these guns were ready to be used. On the battlefield, things got interesting. The 8.8-centimeter flak guns weren't just effective against planes. When the German army moved through Europe, they realized these guns could take out tanks, too. How did this work? The gun had a long barrel and could fire shells with explosive warheads at high speeds. That meant they could pierce the thick armor of enemy tanks. One of the biggest surprises came in North Africa in 1941. German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel took advantage of the flak gun's versatility. He positioned them in the desert, not only to defend against aircraft, but also to destroy British tanks. It worked so well that the British troops began calling it the 88, and they feared it. Soldiers did face challenges with these guns. Moving them around was hard work. The flak 18 was heavy and needed a team to set up and operate. The crew had to work fast to avoid becoming targets for enemy forces while preparing the gun for action. Aiming it correctly also required skill, and bad weather could make things even tougher. Despite these issues, the gun's impact on combat was clear. In addition to North Africa, the weapon also proved valuable on the Eastern Front against the Soviet Union's tank formations, as well as during the defense of Germany later in the war. This changed how battles were fought and challenged enemies to rethink their strategies. So why do we care today? The story of the 8.8-centimeter flak guns shows how creative problem-solving can lead to unexpected advantages in difficult situations. Military strategy and technology often go hand in hand, and the lessons from past conflicts help us understand how innovations can shift the balance in warfare. These big guns, though not perfect, left a mark on military history by showing that using a tool in unexpected ways can sometimes make all the difference. During the years leading up to World War II, many countries were trying to build stronger and more effective weapons. The German military wanted something powerful to defend against tanks and aircraft. This need led to the creation of an impressive piece of artillery. The 8.8-centimeter flak 18, 36, and 37, commonly known as the 88. At the heart of developing the 88 were German engineers and military leaders who understood its potential. People like Friedrich Krupp, the head of a major arms company, played a key role. His company designed and produced these guns, focusing on making them both powerful and versatile. The engineers knew they needed a weapon that could shoot both planes high in the sky and tanks moving on the ground. The story of the 88 really took off during World War II. At first, the gun was used to shoot down enemy airplanes, but soon Soldiers realized it was perfect for destroying tanks, too. During battles like the one in North Africa in 1941, German forces under General Erwin Rommel used the 88 to great effect. Rommel noticed its power against British tanks and ordered more of them on the battlefield. Technically, the 88 was impressive. It was a big gun with a long barrel that allowed it to shoot shells at high speeds. This made it accurate and powerful. The FLAC in its name stands for Flugabwehrkanone, which is German for anti-aircraft gun. It was originally designed to hit planes, but its shells could also pierce tank armor. The gun could fire shells over long distances and hit a target up to 10,600 meters away. Using the 88 wasn't all easy. Setting it up and firing it quickly were major challenges. It weighed over 5 tons, so moving it required trucks. Soldiers needed to act fast during battles, setting up the gun in new places to surprise the enemy. Bad weather, like mud and rain, often made movement and aiming difficult. The impact of the 88 was significant. It became one of the most feared weapons by the Allies. In many battles, its presence alone forced Allied forces to change their plans. The gun's ability to shoot both high and low made it unique and a symbol of German military engineering. Why should we care about the 88 today? It reminds us of the innovation and adaptation that happened during wars. While it was a tool of destruction, studying it helps us understand how warfare technology evolved. Even now, its dual-purpose design influences military strategies and weapon development around the globe. Understanding its history gives us insight into a time when the world was fighting a monumental conflict and how technology played a critical role in shaping the outcomes. Before World War II, the German military wanted a weapon that could deal with fast-moving aircraft and tanks on the ground. They came up with the 8.8 centimeter flak, which is short for Flugabwehrkanone, meaning air defense cannon. This gun became one of the most feared weapons during the war, mainly because it could target both the skies and the battlefield. One of the key people behind this weapon was a German engineer named Professor Hermann Ring, who worked alongside other experts to design a gun that could be used in multiple situations. The Germans started using the first version, the FLAC 18, in the early 1930s. Later versions, the FLAC 36 and 37, improved on the original design. These guns were operated by highly trained crews who could put them into action at a moment's notice. The story of this weapon is all about its versatility. In the early days of World War II, the German military found themselves needing a gun that could shoot down planes and also stop enemy tanks. They quickly realized that their 8.8 centimeter flak guns, originally designed for anti-aircraft duty, worked well for both tasks. In places like North Africa and the Soviet Union, these guns played a big role in battles by hitting enemy planes and tanks with amazing accuracy. The technical magic behind the flak gun was in its design. It could fire shells up to 8,000 meters into the sky or directly at targets on the ground. Its crew of 8 to 12 soldiers worked like clockwork, loading shells and aiming the gun in record time. The gun could be mounted on both stationary and mobile platforms, making it easy to move around, which kept the enemy guessing. Despite its effectiveness, using the flak gun came with some big problems. Moving these guns into position and setting them up took time and manpower. If the enemy attacked quickly, the crew could be caught off guard. Also, hitting fast-moving planes or tough tanks was not easy and required serious skill and coordination. In the end, the dual-purpose role of the 8.8 centimeter flak made a huge impact. Over 20,000 of these guns were made, and they continued to be used throughout the war. The gun's ability to serve multiple roles turned it into a symbol of German military engineering. So why does this matter today? The 8.8 centimeter flak teaches us about the importance of adaptability in technology and military strategy. Its design inspired many post-war developments and shows how a simple idea can solve multiple problems effectively. This kind of thinking still influences modern military design and technology developments around the world. In the years leading up to World War II, Europe was on edge. Germany was getting more aggressive, and countries like France and the United Kingdom were preparing for the worst. Among their preparations, they paid close attention to a powerful new weapon, the 8.8 centimeter flak gun. This gun originally started as an anti-aircraft weapon, but when the German army realized its potential, it quickly became famous for more than just shooting planes out of the sky. The main players in the development of this weapon were German engineers and military leaders. They were keen to improve upon earlier gun designs. At the center of their efforts was the 8.8 centimeter flak gun with its three main models, FLAC 18, FLAC 36, and FLAC 37. These guns soon proved to be surprisingly effective against tanks, which was not their original purpose. Here's how it happened. When Germany invaded Poland in 1939 and later France, their tanks often faced tough resistance. It turned out that the 8.8 centimeter flak guns, originally meant to target high-flying enemy bombers, could also fire shells fast and hard enough to punch through tank armor. It quickly became known as the 88 among soldiers on both sides. This was a big deal because it gave German forces an unexpected edge in battles. From a technical standpoint, the FLAC 18, FLAC 36, and FLAC 37 were pretty advanced for the time. They could fire shells at high speeds and had a range of over 12 kilometers. They were easy to move around, which made them super useful in fast-paced battles. Although not the lightest, their power made up for it. Of course, there were challenges. One big problem was how heavy and large the guns were. Transporting them through rough terrain could slow down the Army's advance. Plus, they needed skilled operators who could handle the sophisticated targeting systems. When something broke, repairs were often complicated and time-consuming. The impact of these guns was huge. They became legendary for their ability to take out almost anything in their line of sight. This forced the Allies to rethink their tactics, spending more resources on developing stronger tanks and better air strategies. These changes continued to influence military design even after the war was over. But why should we care today? The story of the 8.8 centimeter flak gun is a lesson in adaptability. It shows how a single innovation can change the course of events, even when it is used in a way no one expected. The myth of the 88 is a reminder of how technology and strategy can shift the balance during critical moments in history. During the years leading up to World War II, Germany was preparing for a conflict that would change the world. One of their most well-known weapons was the 8.8 centimeter flak gun. It was originally designed to shoot down airplanes, but it ended up doing a lot more. Some important people played a big role in how the flak gun was used. One of them was a German engineer named Hermann Gerlich. He helped design the gun to be powerful enough to hit targets high in the sky. Erwin Rommel, a famous German general, also used the flak gun in North Africa. He realized that it was also great at taking out tanks on the ground, not just planes in the air. At first, the 8.8 centimeter flak gun was set up to protect cities and important places from enemy planes. But its high power and accuracy soon proved it could be used against tanks as well. During battles, the gun crews set it up on the ground, aimed carefully, and fired powerful shots. It became so famous that both the soldiers who used it and those facing it understood its deadly reputation. The way the flak gun worked was pretty straightforward. It had a long barrel that helped launch shells at enemy planes and tanks. Crews could turn the gun quickly to aim at targets both in the air and on the ground. The shells were equipped to explode either on impact or in the air, making them very effective. However, using the flak gun was not always easy. The crews had to face difficult weather conditions and enemy fire while operating in open areas. They needed to aim quickly and reload fast, which was a lot of hard work. In the end, the 8.8-centimeter flak gun proved to be one of Germany's most effective weapons. It successfully took out many planes, tanks, and other targets during World War II. Its versatility and power made it a key player in many battles. The reason the flak gun matters today is not just because of what it did in the past. It showed how a simple idea, like using one weapon in different ways, could change the course of a war. Many modern weapons are now designed with this versatile approach in mind. The legacy of the 8.8-centimeter flak gun teaches us how important it is to adapt technology for different situations, shaping the way future conflicts are approached and managed.